We're back. Best Beast gonna tell us his little stories that he's got going on while I eat my peach and mute my mic. Ain't that right? Like and subscribe, guys. All right, get to it.
Okay. Solo Sokoa and Bloodline Wolfpack open the show. Solo says, "Ladies and gentlemen, it feels good to be here tonight. We're just a couple of weeks away from the biggest party of summer with SummerSlam. The Bloodline is on a roll, but I can't help to feel like something is missing. I look around my family, I see nothing but killers. Some of the baddest men walking this planet, but we're just missing that one thing. That something being gold around our waists. So I was thinking maybe at SummerSlam we could change that. So Biggie, how about you come out here tonight and we figure something out for all of us at SummerSlam?" Solo waits a moment before Bronson Reed's music plays. Bronson says, "Solo, before you can get any gold around your waist, I think payback is in store. Now you see, I would just come down to that ring and kick your ass right now, but instead I have some news to give you. Last week after Tama and Tonga cost me the win, I decided to reach out to somebody who you guys put on the shelf to help me figure out how to even the odds. Fortunately, that man's name is Sami Zayn, and the way he told me to even the odds is just wait for him next week and he'll be there to even them for himself. So put your title aspirations on hold because I'm sure you're going to be having bigger problems come next week." Brother walks off, segment ends. We cut backstage. Ricochet and the Authors of Pain are in Biggie's office complaining about the New Day's involvement in their tag title match last week. Biggie says, "Look, I have nothing to do with them going out there. If there's anyone to blame, it's Ethan Page." As he says his phenomenal egos walk in, Ethan says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you're blaming me for the New Day interfering last week? Come on, that is ridiculous." AJ then says, "Yeah, we're fighting champions. We don't need outside help to make sure we keep these belts around our waists." New Day then walks in and says, "Well, if Ethan would have just kept his big nose out of our business a couple weeks ago, then maybe things wouldn't turn out the way they did." Biggie then says, "Enough! Look, I know Ricochet, you just want what's right for the Authors of Pain, and New Day, I know you felt slighted by Phenomenal Egos, so here's what I'm going to do. At SummerSlam, it'll be Phenomenal Egos defending their tag titles against the Authors of Pain and the New Day." Ethan Page, that is completely unfair. Why do we get punished in this situation? Biggie says, "If you guys are as great as you think, then you should not be. Then this shouldn't be a problem for you. Oh, also, I'm making 2 triple threat matches for the 6 competitors in this match over the next couple of weeks. Tonight we'll have Ethan Page going against Xavier Woods and Razor. That match is set, and that match is set. So I advise you to get prepared and please leave my office." We head down to the ring. Jade Cargill versus Paige or Saraya. Match in the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. Jade Cargill wins via pinfall, earning herself 3 points. After the match, Jade Cargill is interviewed about picking up yet another win in the tournament. Jade says, "Kathy, when I came to SmackDown, I already told you I had plans to make a true name for myself. Last year I had problems with somebody who I thought was a close friend, and unfortunately that held me back from the success I knew I could be capable of. So now here on SmackDown, I am making a name for myself, and come Bad Blood, you will see me defeat who's ever in my path to become the first ever Women's Intercontinental Champion." Drew McIntyre is backstage and he comes across Karrion Kross. Drew says, "How come every week we find ways to cross paths?" Kross says, "Well, as a world champion, it is kind of my duty to make sure everything is kept in check around here. And with your track record, you're somebody I need to keep an eye on." Drew says, "Well, how about instead of being hall monitor, you start focusing on our match at SummerSlam? Because once that bell rings, I have only one thing on my mind, and that is taking my title back." Cross says, "You keep saying that this is your title, but it's not really your title anymore, is it? It's mine. And rest assured, Drew, I am 100% focused on our match at SummerSlam. I know what I'm getting in store for, but for you, I think there is one man that is also in that match that just might take your mind off of your true goal. And between you and me, I hear he's been talking all kinds of shit behind your back." The camera then pans back and you see Seth Rollins way off in the distance down the hallway speaking to some guys. Cross says, "If I were you, I just couldn't let that slide. But you didn't hear any of this from me. And Cross steps away. Drew angrily then walks down the hall towards Seth Rollins. Once he gets to Seth, he aggressively turns him around and shoves him in the chest. Seth shoves Drew back, and they start arguing and shoving each other before security rush in and separate them. In the distance, you can see Cross laughing with Scarlett. We then head down to the ring for the triple threat: Ethan Page versus Xavier Woods versus Razor. Um, Towards the end, we see Ethan Page go for a roll up on Xavier Woods, but Xavier Woods manages to reverse this and rolls up Ethan Page for the 1, 2, 3. Xavier Woods picks up the win. Cody Rhodes is backstage when Swerve Strickland confronts him. Swerve says, "Look, I'm not going to lay hands on you right now, even though we both know you deserve it. I just want you to know that I just got done speaking with Big E, and he's made it official at SummerSlam. It's going to be me and you in that ring, and I am going to give you the beating you have so rightfully earned." Cody smiles and says, "Swerve, you're not going to do anything. Look, I'm done playing nice. You got your match. Congratulations. But at SummerSlam, I am treating you like the stepping stone you are. I'm getting back into that title picture one way or another, and if you choose to be a roadblock in my pursuit of that, fine. Just understand this isn't AEW anymore. You're swimming with sharks. You might as well call me a great white because at SummerSlam, I am going to eat you alive." Cody then walks off. Cora Jade is in her locker room on the phone when Becky Lynch comes into frame. Cora says, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Where were you?" Becky says Big E wasn't happy with the confrontation between me and Charlotte a couple of weeks ago, so he sent me and Charlotte home. Said there was enough chaos and he didn't need us adding to it. Cora says, "Well, I'm happy you're back. I've been dealing with Mercedes and..." At this point, Team Bad plus Mercedes walks into the locker room, and Mercedes says, "I know we're not about to. I know you are not about to disrespect my name." Cora says, "Mercedes, I've had enough of your ego. If you think you're so good, how about we skip waiting for SummerSlam and head down to the ring right now?" Mercedes laughs and says, "Oh, she's just so adorable. But sweetheart, I don't want to. I don't work when you tell me to. I get paid the big bucks for a reason, and the reason is to be the biggest star on the biggest show. But I can see that you want to fight, so how about you and your friend here head down to the ring, and I'll send out Naomi and Tamina, and we'll see just how much you want to fight afterwards." We then head down to the ring, Naomi and Tamina versus Cora Jade and Becky Lynch. Towards the end of the match, we see Cora get a hot tag off to Becky, and she is rolling like a house of fire. After a minute of white hot offense, she is setting up the manhandle slam when Charlotte comes down to the ring and gets up on the apron and distracts Becky. They argue for a bit before Becky turns around into a rear view from Naomi. Naomi then tags in Tamina, who hits a splash off the top and covers Becky. 1, 2, 3.
Holy shit! I didn't expect that one.
Listen, tag teams got to win. They have chemistry. Becky and Cora have none. Also, Charlotte got involved. Anyways, Biggie is in his office when Zaruka walks into the room. Biggie says, "Look, I need some representation for the women's tag titles at SummerSlam. I know both of you are currently deep in the women's IC tournament, but it would be greatly appreciated if you'd also compete for those titles at SummerSlam." Zaruka look at each other and say they would gladly accept the title opportunity. Liv and Raquel then walk in and say, "If we were just giving out opportunities, then we would gladly take another crack at winning those titles." Biggie says, "You two have already lost 2 title matches. I was hoping to bring in someone new to catch them off guard." Liv says, "So you don't think we're any good?" Biggie says, "You know that's not what I'm saying." Soul then speaks up and says, how about we just face you right now? Whoever wins gets the title shot." Liv smiles and says, "That sounds like a great idea." And she heads off with Raquel towards the ring. Go down, Liv and Raquel versus Zaruka. Winner gets a shot at the women's tag titles at SummerSlam. Zaruka pick up the win. We go backstage. Kevin Owens is being interviewed when Malachi Black shows up, and Kevin says, "Weren't you supposed to have a match tonight?" Malachi says, "Yeah, I told Big E I didn't need it. I don't want you to be ready for me at SummerSlam, because at SummerSlam I plan on taking that title belt off your shoulders." Kevin says, "Well, you're not going to take this belt off my shoulders. Not you, not Priest, not Trick, not anybody. This is my title, and as long as I have breath in my lungs, this title is never going to leave my shoulder." Kevin then walks away. Damage Control is then seen in their locker room getting ready for Io versus Asuka. Dakota and Kyrie are trying to ease tension, saying, "Look, we've all been through so much together, so no matter the outcome tonight, we need to make sure that we're still tight, okay?" Io and Asuka look one another down for a moment before Io puts out her hands with a giant smile on her face. Asuka looks at her hand and eventually shakes it. Io says, "Let the best woman win." Asuka wishes Io luck back in Japanese. I don't know Japanese, so I can't say that, but imagine. Use your imagination.
We just
They,
spent at least you
I,
spent a week there, man. You got
I did. Doesn't mean I know every bit of the
you
language.
gotta you couldn't at least look up Google Translate.
I would have butchered it.
I butcher
I'd
my
rather
Spanish all the time. It's
you at
fine.
least roughly know Spanish. I don't know Japanese. Anyways, we head down to the ring. Io versus Asuka in the women's intercontinental title tournament. Real quick, let me check something. It is not okay. Towards the end of a grueling match, we see Io and Asuka trading blows in the middle of the ring. Back and forth they go until Asuka manages to duck a punch and quickly tries to lock in the Asuka lock. Io is quick to respond and backpedals them into the corner a few times, causing Asuka to let go of the hold and drops her down into the corner, into a seated position. Io then walks across the ring before rushing in and connecting with the Meteora. Io rolls Asuka out of the corner and heads up top for the over the moonsault. Io goes for it, but Asuka manages to roll out of the way. Asuka then quickly rolls back over and locks Io into the Asuka lock. Io is fighting with everything she has, and it seems like she is fading when somehow Io is able to flip herself over, pinning Asuka's shoulders down to the mat for the 1, 2, 3. Io celebrates the win, holding her arm high whilst also holding her head. Asuka, meanwhile, just has a look of shock across her face over how she just lost. Both women get to their feet and stare down for a moment before Asuka gives Io a hug and then leaves to let Io celebrate her win. So Io picks up the win via pinfall to get herself 3 points in the tournament.
And that was SmackDown.
And that was SmackDown.
What show?